All right, looks like we're good. So my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It is May 3rd. No, it's June 3rd, 2021. That's what happens when you take a day off. And let's go ahead and get started. All right, so market, SPY. We are seeing a little bit of additional consolidation in the SPY. And one thing that we got at the beginning of the month is a test of the previous all-time high with regards to the daily chart. So we basically did a full 100% retracement from high to low, low back to high. That first test did fail, which is fairly common. Usually is very challenging for markets to go through significant untested levels on the first attempt. And that's because usually the supply and demand imbalance was notable in that range. And when you come back into it, the bears or the bulls want to defend it, even though the move into it may have been significant. And we certainly want to note the move into this level was significant from low to high. And as we dig into our lower time frames, we see that a couple of ranges have formed. Very clear ranges with either multiple touches, allowing us to be confident in the fact that they do exist, along with our significant lows, significant highs, and the fact that we are respecting things like our significant highs at this time. So we see a market that has a large, more volatile lower range. And then we see a market that has a more, I would say, tighter, maybe a bit harder to find momentum, but overall tightening upper range. And what we've seen in this morning session is that the market is running another test of the lower portion of the upper range, which is, once again, the upper portion of the lower range. So regardless of how you view this, there are supply and demand zones. What was once a supply zone and once resistance at the lower range had now become a demand zone in the upper range. When we add additional studies, things like volume profile, I'll bring this down to a 1 hour to reduce the squish. We see that due to how this market has formed, the VPOC is roughly in this range area. Right now we have it sitting about 417 to 418. And what this means is that this market at this time is very much trading in a range. We see that pull downs to this lower range act as moments in time where the market is a bit oversold. And often the move away from value is pulled back into the VPOC or value zones like VPOC. Now, how it happens and the volatility that exists in between, that's often very challenging to predict or even anticipate. But we know that at this time, we have a major supply zone, and then we have structure where bulls are not yet ready to break through that area. They may not be ready for a long period of time. Obviously, that's yet to be seen. But these rejections show us that the market has to return to value to find either additional demand to move us higher or to double check whether this market wishes to move higher. And if it does not, we have structure, sort of probabilistic aspects of this study that we can use to the downside. We know that certain areas like to be sort of respected, these inner ranges within larger trading ranges. Something like this would act as sort of our VA low. and it does have a price reaction off of it. So in a market that's in these trading ranges, it can be advantageous not to think directionally at all times. The idea is more about wanting to buy certain regions because the market itself is a bit oversold in these regions, wanting to sell in upper regions because the market is at that time overbought and the likelihood to return to value is high, so the fade away from a strong, trend or rally. And we may see this for multiple weeks, something that we did talk about last May, because it is the summer months. Volume is a bit lower. We don't necessarily have as strong of catalysts in certain markets. So the ability for the market to basically chop between high to low, low to high, and then just find oscillation points in between, we are seeing that so far. So it's worth mentioning. We've obviously seen this in the past as well, so it's not something new. But when you're in these periods of time, just note that as it forms, there is going to be often a middle point. It's not necessarily the middle of the range, but there is a value zone somewhere in that larger structure. You want to use this as sort of a guidepost. If you're too far above, it can be advantageous to put on fading strategies back to this point. If you're too far below, it can be advantageous to put on, I would say, bouncing strategies back to that middle point. And then obviously, if you have continuation, you will try to hold through that value zone with the understanding that this market is still in a very strong uptrend. No matter how we look at these inner ranges, the market still shows bullish structure on daily, weekly, just overall time frames. So we have to respect that for now as this oscillation occurs. We want to look at things like the Qs for additional information. We've noted that the Qs are still not in the same posture as the SPY. While the SPY is testing all-time highs, the Qs are basically forming the potential for a lower high on the daily. And I do see I have a little bit of drawing here, but as we dig into the 4-hour, we see that a lot of these inner structures, these levels and trend lines are still in play. We have significant moves down. We land into an upper range. I would say this is a more mid-range that we do want to respect because we haven't broken above it yet. And then we have our lower range. So unlike the SPY, or maybe with the SPY having less mid-range structure, there are sort of 3 areas we can consider. We are still mid-range on the Qs. And while the Qs are rejecting the upper portion of the middle of the range, we can see that it's coming off at the moment. The overall target would be back to this lower portion of the range. And that's where we get things like these double bottoms. Excuse me. Along with a little bit of a inflection point whenever we break through downtrends. So JR, the software is Thinkorswim. So the market is moving through ranges right now. There is less of trending structure, something we've seen in strong moves away from ranges is that sort of buy pullbacks to the 20 period or the 50 period and expect follow through. We are currently doing more of high to low, low to high range trading. And the key that hopefully everybody is able to sort of visualize is that the market is putting up some clear spots. What we do at those spots is important. whereas the SPY was able to break through and sort of hold on a back test from the lower range to the upper range, or maybe mid-range, depending on how you view it. The Qs have not done that. They have simply stayed put. And in fact, they've had a couple of warning signs where we had breakouts that had little to no follow through. So we basically have the market trying to tell us something. And what the market does at these spots is important because we're trying to anticipate the next large move. The only way that's going to occur is if these spots do something when they get to the point of inflection. Are we breaking through? Are we rejecting on the first test and then building cup and handle, pullback, breakout? Or are we just chopping with failed breakouts in between? Maybe there's not enough strength, and look at what's happening so far. So some things to keep in mind, some obvious notes to take in analyzing a market, especially a range-bound market. It can be advantageous to look a little closer and see if the market is trying to generate additional information besides, directionality. Markets don't necessarily need to go up nor straight down. They might oscillate. And finally, our IWM. What we have here is that this market so far has had a strong move away from its low point. And while this move has been quite, I would say, unexpected, as it hasn't really proven it to us in the past, we've seen a lot of chop in between. There's certainly some catalysts in growth, small caps, particular IWM names that are quite strong right now. So this move from low to high has been, of course, advantageous. Now, what's the rub here is that we are now back at a spot of previous resistance, and we've had a pretty strong move so far. So if you are long, you're looking at this and saying, so far this market has not been able to clear this zone. So if I am long, I may want to protect my long position from here to here, or I may want to simply profit if you're shorter term mindseted, or you just have a shorter term swing trade in play. This is the spot to consider. And what you're trying to do is reduce exposure in the case that this once again does not work. We've seen it not work multiple times. The market has to prove it to us. And in doing that proving, we will see different reactions. We will see breakthroughs with volume. We will see continuation, and ultimately a pullback and a test. But we have not seen that yet. And what we're doing is still range trading. We're going low to high and high to low, I would say, in a bullish market, with the advantage so far to the bulls. So the low to high framework has worked quite well up until this point. Okay, so obviously this is just our general analysis. We do see a little bit of overall flatness in other areas. I would say I'm still watching crude. Crude has broken out quite strongly. We're looking back to weekly timeframes to see spots where we expect rejections on this move. But overall, there's not a ton of resistance in this zone. It's more of a void in the chart. And if crude can just sort of continue to grind higher, especially over the summer months, this could be a nice overall energy related play if you're looking at maybe something strong getting stronger. I'm also keeping a watch on natural gas, but overall just kind of hovering around the 3 zone. We've seen some V bottoms on the short term. And what I'm looking for now is just that clear breakout to occur, get us out of this range and moving a bit higher. We've seen the dollar really put up a little bit of a fight in this lower range. As we zoom in, we see that while the dollar hasn't proven anything to the downside yet amidst this support area, it also has not necessarily broken out super strongly. So we have a little bit of a tightening going on. I would like to see what occurs amidst these price ranges. So far the dollar is still weak. The overall context is bearish, but it is putting up a fight. So if you're long metals, if you're long any correlated sectors to the dollar, and you see strength in the dollar, just note that if the dollar were to break bullish, the follow through could be one of just a 50% pullback on the fact that we did have a strong move down. So something akin to 38.6 or 38.2 to 50%, just a retracement. If that happens, however, there may be a strong reaction in metals. And we're obviously watching gold as sort of our key metal on watch. Little bit of indecision being placed here. Lots of upper wick so far. So market's holding, but it's not moving higher. Silver is actually putting up a bit more weakness. And so far, we're just watching to see whether or not this breaks bullish or bearish. So these metals are in play. The dollar has facilitated the movement from low to high. The fact that they are tightening right now means that the dollar is also tightening. The way that the dollar moves will likely dictate the way that the metal moves. And we can look at miners to maybe get a clue. They're also sort of in a holding pattern at the moment. They haven't lost anything, but they have not moved recently. And just overall market conditions, if the metals are going to continue the uptrend, we'd like to see maybe the miners lead the way, especially in a strong market condition. Things like the SPY breaking strong to the upside, that may lead the metals with a weaker dollar, of course, to break bullish and have the metals lead the way with more volatility, but have the miners lead the way, but the metals following suit. Lack of directionality in TLT at this time. Same idea though, we are tightening. So we just want to keep this on watch. We haven't seen strong moves yet, but we are seeing clear definition starting to form. And whichever way this decides to go, we just want to note that in our analysis and use it to our advantage if there are ways to capitalize on correlation. And let's look at volatility really quick. We do see elevated volatility this morning. We still are sitting at points that we haven't seen since the COVID crash begun, and hence why I have not taken them off of the chart. We are seeing a lot of just general hold in this area, and we're seeing spikes on periods of volatility. So moving into a period of time where the volatility has come below this region and is now spiking up, I would say be on caution today, as we do see the market is selling in pre-market. We know that the downside risk on things like the Qs is back to that mid-range low and lower range high. So we have a trading range that we're falling through on the Qs. The SPY has something quite similar, albeit the spot that we're looking to target is VPOC, and we're already there. And then, of course, the IWM is in that elevated state with respect to the low to high transition that it just took place in. Okay, so final lesson. I figure we'll do something a little different. Let's look at AMC. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to show this perspective through the option market as opposed to the equities market, which of course is quite volatile, moving very well for day traders and swing traders. But I want to talk about the option market and what's occurring in the option market that helps facilitate some of this movement. So here we have the AMC option chain. When we look at this option chain, we see that there are multiple series to choose from. And amidst these series, there are different implied volatilities being generated dynamically due to a mathematical model that's developed for this market. The way this market works when it comes to buyers and sellers is that often a retail trader will go out into the option market and wish to buy something like a call in AMC or any stock in general. And when you go out and buy a call, there are certain metrics that that call has, certain aspects that are defined through something called the Greeks. When you look at some of these metrics, you will note that some of the more important ones are often delta, which is going to be the change in your contract premium for every dollar change that the equity moves. So if you're holding an option and your equity moves up or down by $1, you expect the delta to reflect the rate of change for how much your premium goes up or down, obviously for or against you. Now, this is a dynamic metric. This is something that will change relative to another Greek called gamma. I'm actually going to open up a farther out series just to see. Yeah, the skew here is quite significant. But let's just say, for example, that you go out and you're looking to buy a call. That call can be classified as in the money, which means that it's sitting below the current equity price. It can be at the money, which is roughly within $1 range, maybe 50-cent range, depending on the strikes of the current equity price. And then out of the money, which is, of course, higher than the equity price. Each of these has its own advantage, sort of, excuse me. Each of these has its own advantage. It's either a little bit of a more riskier play out of the money. It can be sort of a 50-50 in the money or at the money. And then in the money has a bit of intrinsic value, which means it sort of holds its premium a little bit better in periods of volatility. The thing that I want to cover, though, is on a normal stock. We have AMC here. I want you to note that currently the option market is closed, so these are a little bit skewed. And the fact that AMC is moving around so much actually makes this a bit challenging. But let's actually go to a normal stock. This is an abnormal condition. So normally, if you're looking at the money, Apple's trading at about 124, you would see that your delta is roughly 0.5. Which means if you go out and buy an at the money call, you're buying roughly a 0.5 delta contract. And let's say you go out and you buy 10 contracts of at the money calls. Your delta, which is positive because you've bought a positive delta instrument, is going to be roughly that 0.5 times the number of contracts that you've bought, which means you're sitting at about about 500 or so delta. I know it says 0.5, but basically it's stating that for every contract you hold, you're roughly equivalent to about 50 shares of Apple. So you can think of this 0.5 as roughly equivalent to about 50 shares of Apple at the money. You bought 10 contracts, so you roughly have about 500 shares equivalent to Apple. and you're trying to participate in price fluctuations to the upside with roughly a 500 share position of Apple, albeit there are some metrics in between. So your positive delta, somewhere, someone has to sell you that call. Most of the time, this is going to be a market maker. This is someone who facilitates the bid-ask spread and the liquidity of the option market. It keeps things fair and makes sure that there are buyers and sellers at all times. Albeit it doesn't have to be necessarily the most liquid market in the world. So when they go out and they sell you those calls, they are selling you something that you bought with a positive delta, which makes them negative delta. So you have your 500 roughly equivalent shares of Apple, and to them, they have roughly negative 500 equivalent delta in the form of short calls. So you are long calls, they are short calls. Market makers do not like to be directionally biased. In fact, it is not in their structure to be negative or positive delta at any time. So they are forced to hedge. And the way that they do that is they go out into the equities market, they buy equivalent shares to however many negative deltas or positive deltas that they have. So in the case of our example, they would go out and they would buy 500 shares of Apple to neutralize the negative 500 quote unquote equivalent deltas that they have in the form of short calls. Now, this of course happens very quickly, dynamically, usually in normal market conditions. This is not going to be something that we have to react to very often. It is just how this market works. But in the case of extremes, which we are seeing in AMC, there are times when you have the equity price moving through certain zones, and when those breakouts occur, specifically when you have things like high volume or high open interest on specific contracts. Let's look at the closest strikes to see some of these zones. You'll note that there are periods, and we can see this inside of some of the equity price action, that breakthroughs of these areas can lead to a more significant hedging strategy being placed inside of the equity market. So everybody is buying calls. It's obvious that AMC has a lot of option activity. We can see that both by looking at the series or just looking at statistics. We can see that AMC facilitated 2.8 million calls yesterday, which in the grand scheme of things isn't even that high. It's only about 1.7 times the 5-day average. So AMC is certainly rocking out there in the option market. But as these calls are getting bought, market makers are dynamically hedging at all times. And what will eventually occur in certain price points, you will get above a region, and that facilitates hedging. So the market maker maybe has a net negative delta of, let's say, 1,000. So negative 1,000, I can't draw. Price moves up. Now those negative deltas are actually closer to 1,200. So what do they have to do? They have to buy more shares. They have to protect the potential for their risks because they are no longer delta neutral. They already bought 1,000 shares here when the order was placed, but now the price has moved. So what do they have to do? They buy 200 shares. And then the price moves up again. Their negative delta turns into 2,000. So what do? They buy 800 more shares, and so on and so forth. this becomes sort of a self-perpetuating activity inside of the marketplace. And this can lead to what most are familiar with, the term sort of a gamma squeeze, where the rate of change of delta is highest at the money, but as you get more and more in the money, these market makers have to continuously hedge their positions. And specifically at these high volume nodes, especially when you're at the money, once you get above that region, you sort of fall into this gamma slope. You have to hedge dynamically to protect yourself as a market maker, and that can lead to equity price acceleration. You'll see it on things like the tape, where you see a ton of orders that are just 1 lots, 2 lots, 5 lots, nothing significant. But what's happening is the market makers are having to hedge constantly, balance out their delta risk, and ultimately lead to the volatility that we are seeing today. So this has been happening for a while in AMC on the run up, but I think it was most notable and obviously had some of the highest effect yesterday with the very accelerated move from low 35s all the way up to the 72s. That certainly had a lot of gamma exposure in between. So with that said, it's always good to understand the dynamics, whether or not you take advantage of it. It's obviously up to you. How you take advantage of it, obviously up to you. But just note that things are expensive in the option market due to the fact that there's so much demand for these contracts, and overall the skew inside of that demand is leading to high implied volatility. So with that said, I'm Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It's good to be back. Thanks to everyone who waited for me to sort of recover. And obviously, big thanks to Eamon for taking over yesterday. Stay tuned for pre-market prep, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Good morning, brother. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. All right, let's take care of a few things here. Perfect. All right. So, guys, what a day yesterday. I mean, did we watch anything else by AMC yesterday? I mean, I just
I
don't
just got
think.
my popcorn and sat back and watched it
Yeah,
myself.
I don't think there
And
was
I've
anything
been
else
doing the
to.
same since about 4 o'clock this morning, my time.
Yep, yep. I mean, it's just madness. It is. And guys, don't worry. This is just a $20 pullback. We'll be back at 80, 100 in no time. So hang tight. Just kidding. Don't follow any type of advice like that. But let's look at the action yesterday. Let's go in here. Let's look at our 5 minute, and we'll see again when you look at the 5 minute from yesterday. It makes this look like nothing happened here. Let me get my Epic Pen out, guys. Great app, by the way, free to
We
use.
were we were in a PCT meeting at this time.
Around what
The
time?
weekly meeting right there at that 11 o'clock ish,
Mm-hmm.
and we were watching it and kind of actually. I can't remember if Andrew actually took a trade or not, but we were discussing, the kind of the mechanics of a pop. And right there, that bar where you, not that one, it's the third one from that white candle, right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was FOMO'd that he hadn't taken the trade because he called it and he's like, we were talking about other stuff. Then he looked at this and we were kind of talking about some things, and he says, "Oh, I get in here for a pop to 42 or something." And I was like, no, no, no. I think this thing's going to go. This is going to get pre-market high, which I believe was 44.75. We kind
Yeah.
of discussed whether it would be achievable, and I had to run an errand after that meeting, and I came back and it was at 70, and I'm like, what the hell? It just wild, wild, wild day. And then this morning, we'll get into what's going on this morning, but just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. You can when you have Zoom meetings with Andrew, you can definitely tell when he's in a trade.
Oh
he'll,
yeah,
he'll,
he's
he'll
completely
first of all,
distracted.
he's completely distracted, and he'll tell you, "Hold on a second, guys. You got to repeat that in a second. I'm in a trade right now. The price action is going crazy," and then
He's
you have
never
to.
told me that. All he says is he lets me talk for 5 or 10 minutes, and then he goes, "Okay, what'd you say?"
It is a
Anyway,
beautiful thing, and hopefully he's not watching this. All right, guys,
love him.
AMC, insane, we sure do. Makes this look like nothing was happening here, but if you cut all this out here, which is just madness, we had a beautiful pre-market market open on AMC. It was very, very clean as well. Beautiful pops here, beautiful breakouts towards the pre-market high, and then after the pre-market high, it just goes insane, as you can see here. So. Again, it's nice if you can get a good entry. It is not nice if you have to hold through a pullback that you got in at around 60, maybe 57, all the way down to 51, right? So that is the concern when things get so parabolic like this here. You're gonna expect some really, really big pullbacks, and it still might be in an uptrend, which it is. These candles are so wide, $5 a pop, $10 easily, that this is just a regular pullback on an uptrend, right? Very difficult
Yeah.
to trade, or just need to be traded with a different mentality, right? Knowing that this can pull back very aggressively, as it can also push up very, very nice here. Let's look at BB. BB, on the other hand, did not start off as great. It was okay, but compared to AMC just was ripping nicely from the beginning. BB is, again, the price action. And Andrew spoke about this a little bit yesterday. I believe it was after the market open or before. BB tends to trade a little bit different. The price action is slightly. I don't want to say it's illiquid. I'm not. It does have a liquidity, but it's just different. The price action. It's very difficult to explain without looking at tape and looking at the actual price action and saying, okay, he see that, there it is. That's is not as clean as AMC would trade. Again, also takes off later after 12:30. You have this beautiful pop here as well. Today they're also in play, guys. 32 a million shares traded on both of these right now. AMC at 34, BB obviously down 17, and AMC down 6%. So we'll get into that. CCIV, again, I don't I did not look at anything else, so I can't tell you how the price action was here, but it does not look very clean, guys. Just the way this thing's set up here at the start, at least, maybe got a little bit better, but again, AMC just took all the attention. I did look at this one, OEG. This one had a nice little drop here, beautiful opening range breakdown in the 5 minute, nice continuation. What I don't like about this candle is just a little bit extended here. Again, did give you continuation there, but again, I didn't look at the actual price action. I don't know if we even have shares for short yesterday on this one. Could have been that we had. Maybe it was another one that we did not have shares on short. Envis also was choppy. We did take a peek at this one. Did not trade very well. Did lose the VWAP and just slammed down here, but overall, not the cleanest way to do that. Had a beautiful pre-market action though. We were expecting a little bit better than this. The play that did turn out pretty nice here, and I don't recall if Brian took it, was Falling Angel right on here. We've seen this before where the stock sells off right in the pre-market, gives this nice, beautiful pop, and then it slams down. This is typically what Thor and Brian are looking to trade. They trade this kind of style here. They'll go short right on here at the top, and then ride it down towards the bottom there. That would have been a nice play if they took advantage of that. Here's Neo. Neo was just pure madness. Look at the wicks here. Just really all over the place. Slams down here, but gives you a small continuation and then shoots right back up to where it left off from the high of the day, and then shoots right back down. So again, just very choppy. And then from there, you can see just more wicks than bodies on here. That's usually not a good sign for good, clean pre-market action, right? It does settle down at 11, and then you can see here just a beautiful drop there. If you were looking for a breakdown of this 41.80, which again is not easy because look how choppy this thing was before that. All right, that is what we had yesterday, guys. Let's take a look at the market pulse. What do we have coming up? How is our SPY looking like this morning?
Pretty nasty right now, man. Almost down 2/3%. Q's down just shy of 1%. We've got all kinds of economic data coming out today. At 8:15 this morning, we had the ADP employment report, which is private employment. Came in 900 and some odd thousand private payroll jobs versus I think it was around 650. Anyway, it was a substantial beat. People are really looking for the employment number for May that comes out tomorrow morning at 8:30. That's really the big number of the week, and this is kind of a peek into that. Because if you recall, last month we were expecting a huge number, around 1 million, and it came in like a quarter of that. So it was just horrible miss. So, there have been a lot of speculation as to why and everything else. That number comes out tomorrow morning. Anyway, we got a peek. That ADP employment was substantially stronger than expected. Initial claims and continuing claims just came out a few minutes ago. We've been in the middle of this conversation, so I have not seen that number. That having been said, I anticipate they weren't too terrible. Productivity and unit labor costs came out at 8:30. Market services index at 945, and ISM services PMI at 10. So real quick before we jump into this, because it's kind of an overall theme this morning, a lot of these stocks moving are meme stocks, not necessarily having much news other than that in itself. Somebody in the room earlier asked, does anybody know what the current short interest is on AMC? There are some services out there that try to estimate shorts and so forth. But the number that we have on here, whether you look at a FinViz or TI, is the officially reported number, which we've discussed many times on this show. Comes out twice a month. That data is quite delayed. So AMC, for instance, here, and then moves like yesterday, would change things considerably. So AMC, for instance, has a float of roughly 450 million shares, has a short float of roughly, I'm just for easy math going to call it 20%, even though it's a little over 21. So that would be quick math of 90 million shares short roughly. It traded just yesterday 766 million shares. So, if there were shorts, and that shows that it's more than just a squeeze. You could have had new shorts come in, of course, if they wanted to, if they had the guts to do so up high. But that, they could have taken all the shorts off. It could come out as zero, but we won't have that number because the fresh number when we get it will be from the end of last week. And then the next number, we won't have the number. It'll be reported the middle of this month, the 15th-ish, depending on if that's a business day, until days after that number comes out. So just a heads up on how that is.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, overall, just so much technical damage has been done on AMC. I mean, this squeeze, guys, we're going from 35 all the way up to 73 was the high of the day yesterday. So again, these numbers, like Norm said, you just got to be cautious. You got to be aware of them, but know that they're going to change drastically. Who knows? This could be zero or more. It could be higher now because people are not maybe thinking that it's going to go down again. Who knows? Who knows? And what it is today might, by the time we get the report, that might have changed all over again. So again, just a lot of technical damage done with this pop here being so aggressive. All right, that was yesterday. Let's get rid of all this here and let's look at what we have today. So we'll make some room here. We'll start with what's gapping up this morning. I see Workhorse is leading the way today. They are up 17.6 this morning. Had a good day yesterday. We did look at this one, but we did not add it to our list with everything else that we had. Just didn't have a great pre-market action, but turned out to be a nice day for them, just kind of pushing up higher here in the after hours yesterday. They also had a nice little pop-up as well. So looking pretty good. So right now, I do like it up 17.6 right now. 4 million shares traded. Worth watching. What's the news on this one, Norm? These guys do not move like this unless there's something.
Meme stock. Look at that short float. They're targeting it.
Okay, so here's one, guys. BB, we know that for sure. We'll add BB on here. That one is also in play. 33 million. CLOV, this one this morning, it up 10%. 2.6. I think we've seen this before. I'm not sure if we actually traded it. But yeah, this is very active. Interesting. Let's put it on here. We can come back to take a closer look on it. 2.6 right now, up 11.2. Those are some good numbers. I am dailies. It's got some interesting, choppy, not great areas here. See the volume though. The volume is concerning. No, it's okay. We got a couple of days here where we got some good volume. So if we can continue with the 2.6 here, that could be the difference between having 2 million shares traded to 38, 38, and 38. Those seems to be decent days, right? When you're getting that volume, 38 million, we can work with that. We can work with that. And here it just gets really nasty in this area. You're getting no volume at all. So let's hope we're on the right side of this stock today. TLRY is very active this morning, up 8.2 this morning, 3.4. Definitely will take a closer look at that one today.
They got an upgrade.
Oh, they did. Nice. So we'll take a look at how that's trading today. BCTX, this one 6.5 million shares float. Again, the pre-market action, guys, not looking great. Yesterday they were very active also, but just look how this is trading, man. This is not. It's not clean. Yesterday after the bell, what do we have here? This is 6.2. Yeah, yesterday after the bell. Yeah, this is just horrible. And they traded 146 million shares. But
they're currently halted.
Yeah,
they've got news pending. So they had some drug news recently that's caused this thing to move yesterday.
Yeah,
news pending. This will be in play today. Probably a wild mover. So I would definitely keep it on your list. We'll see what that news is and keep an eye on it.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what that is all about. Mox C, the daily looks good on this one, guys. Nice little pullback here for a possible breakout. Volume's a little bit lighter than I would like to see, usually around 4 million. Pre-market action's not great. And again, this one comes up a lot in our list. We've seen it in our gappers list quite a bit. It doesn't trade well, though. I mean, yeah, it's a low floor 16. It doesn't trade very well. We need a lot more volume of 226. I know overall on the daily, they got some pretty good movement. But look, if you look at yesterday, right, look at that. Nice green candle there. The daily does look great. You do have some good movement here, right? So it's not bad. The volume is not great. That's not good. You need more than that for a low flow. But let's dive into yesterday. Yesterday's action.
That intraday chart looks horrendous.
It's horrible, right? So although, yes, you ended up with a nice green bar, but look how that was created. This is not what you want to see. Little pops out of nowhere here. A couple of a dollar or two. Yeah, that's not what you want. So we'll skip on that one. Space is on here, guys. This one is up 2.8 right now. 938,000 shares traded. I do like that volume. Pre-market action doesn't look great, but that's okay for space. We can give it a little bit of room here.
They got a new contract.
They did, and it's funny you mentioned that they got a new contract, and look how they're doing it with it, and over a nice technical level too, right above this previous day close line.
It's funny how that works, isn't it?
All the time, every time some kind of
new contract always happens right when they're at the top of a breakout pattern, right?
Yeah. So this looks good, guys. I like what I'm seeing here on space. I know they had a nice little run, but they had time to consolidate here. So hopefully there's some more buyers can come in. We can get a nice little push here and make a nice play out of that one. So we'll see what happens there. That is all that's gapping up. Let's see what's gapping down today. EXPR down 17% already. I do not like how this daily looks. What is this? This
Express.
is Express. Oh, this is the clothing company. Yeah,
Yeah.
these retailers don't trade
They had
all that well.
well, this will.
This
They had
will, what it
earnings,
has.
and it's a meme stock.
Oh, it is a meme stock. See, I gotta get up to date with my meme stock. So we'll put this one on here, guys. 4.6 as a possible for now. I do like the ones that are up here a little bit better, but we'll definitely keep an eye on that one. TIRX leading the way here down significantly, 18% right now. Pre-market action is starting to get going, looks like. So we'll give this some time. But oh man, this is just nasty. It's a 3.9 million shares float. Look at the daily. We do have shares for short. We'll come back to this. Let's let it develop on what it's going to do here.
Fixes for kids.
Yeah, Texas for kids. I agree. We'll come back to that. Here's cost. Cost right now is down 12%. So nice big drop after yesterday. This is a low flow stock sitting at 2.7. They do have some good volume. Let's put them on here. We can come back to them. AI is not looking any good, guys. Very choppy, down 11.2, but doesn't look great. So we'll skip on that one. BBBY, this is down. Yeah.
I would pull that TIRX off, buddy.
Yeah.
It's a 2 million share float. That thing's nasty looking. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, that's right.
3.9.
3.9. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. Let's get rid of that.
I was just joking. And it's TIRX, not TRIX, which is Citrix.
Yeah.
This is a Chinese something or other low float.
Yeah, thank you for that, man.
Careful on that.
I think I called it out, but
and
I
that
missed
spread
it.
is nasty. That's no bueno. It doesn't have the volume.
We left off here at BBAI. No, this doesn't look good right now. I think we have a lot of stuff that's going to look a lot better today. BBBY this morning, guys. They had a great pop yesterday. Look at this. Again, yesterday we were so focused on so many other things, but look at BBBY yesterday and this pop that it has. So, guys, could be in play today. I'm going to add it on here. We can come back to it. They're down 9.4.
They did have a catalyst yesterday. You know, they're kind of a turnaround business story, and they had some news on that. But it's also a meme stock. So once again, definitely in play.
They are on fire, guys. FEYE. This one is down 9%. This one is down 9%. 281. Again, you can add this one. I like other stuff that's on here a little bit better, so I'm going to skip on this. I'm just going to be a little bit picky because we have so much to look at. AMC, of course, we're going to be watching AMC. 36 million now, going to 37, and down only 6%. So that's not bad.
So AMC's obviously got all kinds of news. They two things here. So they had the big run yesterday. Wall Street Bets, meme stock. CEO came out. Well, first of all, they did. I don't know if it's technically a shelf offering, but it's very similar. If it's not, I haven't read everything about it, but 11.5 million shares that they are reserving the right to sell into the markets to raise capital. So essentially a secondary offering. And they came out in a statement, and this is not verbatim, so don't quote me, but the CEO, they put an official statement out that essentially said, our stock price here, it makes no sense. And so, we'd love for you to invest, but if you're going to invest, just understand you might lose all your money.
Yeah.
So that is what caused that waterfall this morning. We'll see how it does. It'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that is the responsible things to do. You don't want investors, people that are not day trading like us day traders. It's fine. We can go long or short here, make our quick money, scalp. We're good. But if you're an investor, I mean, hopefully you know better that this is not a good price for AMC at all, right? Down at $2, where a lot of people, were purchasing and just saying, hey, let's see what happens. What's the worst that can happen here at $2, $4? No problem. But yeah, at $60, yeah, you want to be careful with that. All right, let's go on here, guys. What else do we have? We have AMC's on deck, SYNH. This one doesn't look great at all. Volume is very light. We'll skip on this one for now. BTX down 6.4, 166,000 shares traded. We've seen this one in the past. Again, 17.5 million shares flow. I just don't see this being better than the stuff that we have on deck right now. So we'll skip on that one. Another lower flow stock sitting at 19. SCYX. This one we looked at before. Right now, they're down 5.9. Horrible pre-market action, and volume is very light as well. So we'll skip on that one. So guys, I'm going to stop here. GameStop obviously should be in play also, but GameStop is a lot more difficult to trade. AMC is a whole lot better, so I'm not even going to add a GameStop on there. But obviously, these things are all in play today. And again, the list just goes on and on and on. So I'm going to stop here. Maybe check on NEO. What is NEO and some of these other non-meme stocks doing today? And actually, if all these stocks were not taking so much space in our gappers list, NEO actually looks decent, guys. So I'm gonna add them on here. I'm definitely probably gonna put them on my main list and put one of these meme stocks down like BB. I don't like BB, so we'll do that now. We'll pull BB down today, and I'll watch something like NEO. But we'll definitely need your help. Norm, what do you have on your end that you like this morning?
Do I need anything else other than what's on this list?
I don't think you really do, to be honest.
No, we can just shut the show down now, right?
Absolutely. Happy hour. There's got to be a bar open somewhere. And BB here, although I just took off BB, man, it's looking better than the pre-market today than it did yesterday.
That's pretty good, man.
I know. Yeah, that was a mistake.
A buddy of mine has owned this from like $5 or something, and telling me about it. Nice. And yeah, your firm should buy BB. It's I just kind of mess with them, and I understand it's a meme stock; it can do anything. But I'm happy for him. Drinks are on him this weekend.
Absolutely. Anybody holding, from those low numbers, AMC, people that bought at 4, you're sitting very, very pretty this morning. Hopefully you put some in your pocket because you never know. This thing can be back at $8, $4. I know people don't want to hear that, but it can happen. We've seen it happen. All right, guys, let's start here in our chat room. Let's start with Hug, you're giving us, or Huge. I'm not sure how you pronounce your name there. It could be so many different ways. CCL. Let's start with CCL this morning. What do we have there? CCL. No, I don't think CCL is really in play, guys. I mean, had a good day yesterday, but compared to everything else we have on here, if you have the space,
I think we're going to say that a lot today.
I think we are, because already
people are going to stretch. You don't need to stretch for names this morning. They're all over the place.
Already, this list looks amazing. So we'll look at maybe 2 more. It's anything that has a catalyst. Maybe let's do this. If you have something that has a catalyst, maybe that's probably the best thing we can look at. But right now, this list is it's an all-star list right now. TEL at the moment, they're up 37%, 6.8. This could be interesting. What is the float on this? Daily's a little bit nuts, as you can see here. Also a huge float here, 287. That big of a flow with this price, it could be a little tough to trade. We'll put it on here. We'll put it on here as a paso for now. So AMC is good. We have that one. I doubt Bank of America will make our list today. I highly doubt it. Yeah, that's not going to do it. Again, it's going to be one of those days where we might just go straight to community events now. And we'll come back and we'll fine tune this list, and then we'll see.
If you guys see something just absolutely awesome that's doing something, but there's no reason to stretch on this stuff.
Yeah, we got a pretty bang up list today.
All right, guys. So Jared's webinar, sorry, I need to update this. I will for tomorrow, but Jared's webinar will be next week. And then he's going to be going through essentially how he does everything he does in that first half hour. The pre-market show is engineering the market segment. And then the week after that will be Peter's Mountain Pass Strategy webinar. Those will both be at Tuesday on their respective dates at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then last night we had Dr. Reed. I believe that's already posted if you haven't had a chance to look at it. And then next week, Mike will be talking about, Wednesday, 8 p.m., he'll be talking about handling emotions of trading. All right, if you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day, post it on Twitter. Obviously, it should have entries and exits so we can see the trade. And then add any commentary you can to describe the trade. Tag at Bearable Traders, at MikeB_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use the hashtags BBT family. Day trading and stock market. We'll pick a winner each day and then announce it on Twitter and in the room. And then all those trades of the day are eligible for trade of the week, which is voted on by the team over the weekend and announced the following Monday. If you're watching us on YouTube or TradingView, you can try out the room at a discount. Use the promo code PREMARKET24. Get you a discount off the intro membership, which is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. Does not auto-renew or turn into any other kind of membership. You actively have to decide if you liked your experience, and then select a membership and sign up.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, Norm. Let's get into it, guys. So back to our list here. Someone mentioned BYND. Just curious, what is BYND?
Beyond the Meat.
Beyond the Meat. What is that doing? How does that? Yeah.
Oh boy, you did it.
BYND right there is every time BYND is down and
for the
someone
record,
mentions it,
I didn't
this
do
will
that.
come up.
Okay, I gotta get a shirt now that says Beyond the Meat. What's that?
If you guys want to email Norm, is norm@bearwoodtrails.com. You can email him, and any one of our moderators is at our first name at bearwoodtrails.com. You can reach us. We're here to help, guys. But if you want to email about that picture, email Norm. All right, let's talk about this list here, guys.
Beyond the Meat is, I gotta say, Beyond the Meat, BYND, Beyond Meat. Seriously, it's interesting right now with that hack on the what is it, JBS meat supplier, that meat prices are just skyrocketing.
I didn't know
I
about
imagine we'll be,
I know, I wasn't aware about that.
Oh yeah, well, the pipeline that got shut down. I'm sure you know about that. Living on the East Coast, that was a few weeks ago.
Right.
Same thing just happened to the largest meat packer in the world, that's responsible for 25% of the beef production in the United States. Wow. Shut them down. I think they're back up now, or mostly back up. But
right.
It just shows you it caused some serious inflation in food prices and such, beef, pork, so it could be interesting. It's caused some volatility there.
Yep, absolutely. They had a good day yesterday, but again, just right now, guys, and on a serious note, just looking at this, yes, maybe on a different day, but today, guys, I mean, our list is just jam-packed with things that are, just look at the numbers on the volume here. Now, it could be a difficult day to trade because things are going to be a little bit wild, especially at the ring of the bell. So just be patient, but these things are going to be in play probably the entire day today, as we saw yesterday. So we'll just have to be patient. If things are a little bit choppy at first because all the volume going through it, be a little bit patient here. All right, let's get some levels in here. Workhorse, guys, looking really good. Up 26.6 right now. 5 million shares traded at the moment. Let's get the bottom chart to look appropriate. There we go. They have a nice big gap up compared to everything else that's a little bit down today. They had a good day yesterday. Nice gap up this morning. 1573 high of the pre-market. 1255 is the low of the pre-market. And then slightly above here towards the top, we do have 1859, which is a nice daily off a couple of days here bouncing off of that. So that's a good area of resistance. Towards the top above that, I mean, I don't see anything unless we go to the left here. Let's go right over here. A great area of support right over here. Couple of days with resistance. I know this is a little bit hard to see here, but a couple of days with resistance over here, but great support on that 2070, just in case we break out of that 1859. So good levels towards the top. Towards the bottom this morning, we got a couple of areas. I do want to mark down this 1338. You are seeing a lot of support and resistance happening right around this area here. So let's mark that down, 1338. And then below that, the low of the pre-market, which also was a great area of support here as well, guys. Just look at it on here. A couple of days in March, April, and in right before May. Great area of support at 1256. Below that, highs and lows from the last two trading days pretty much got you covered there. CLOV this morning, they are again up 11%. High of the pre-market 1019. This one could be okay. Maybe one of the possibles today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, maybe this one could be a possible. This morning we'll have to see. Above that, we do have 1055. Above this, 1124, and then over to 1174. So again, a couple of great levels here. Very clean of these wicks, just kind of providing that for us, especially this 1055. Look how many times that thing has been tested there. So that's a good one. Towards the bottom, guys, we do have the highs and lows from the last two trading days. Here, the daily is very messy, though. Below the price action, 971 down towards that previous day close. Very messy. There is one level here that we can mark down. This is 941. We do have a couple of wicks and a couple of days opening and closing right around this area. So that could be interesting. But again, it is messy there if you're having a hard time finding some good levels there. So overall, looking at this one, I think it can be very explosive. The daily is not great before May, but after May here into June has been doing pretty good. So We'll keep an eye on this one, but a possible. I think the rest of the stuff that I have here looks a little bit better. They have amazing volume, also 2.9. Here's TLRY. They are definitely in play, guys. They got an upgrade, and this one I like to trade TLRY. When they have some news, they have an upgrade, and also everything is looking pretty good as far as pre-market action with some amazing volume, 4.1 after a big day yesterday, almost 37 million shares traded. Today they're starting on the right side of things here. Level here below the pre-market high, 20.96. I do like this one. Couple of days using that as great support there. So that's going to be exciting. Also in the pre-market, you can see some action happening right around this level as well. Even right now, using it again as resistance as it's trying to break up towards the pre-market highs. Towards the bottom, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Your previous day close is slightly above the highs from yesterday at a 19.30. We'll throw a level there. In here we have a big room here, big space here between 20.69 down to 19. We got a couple of days here that are not great, but we can take this one here, 19.77. We can take this area here, the closing of this day, the closing and opening of these two here. We'll throw that on there. I won't add too much weight on that one. That level is so. This level here is what I like. This 20.06. That's a great level of support right on there. Heading on down, space SPSE, this one this morning. Let's scroll over here. They got a great daily, guys. Great consolidation, possible breakout. They have a new contract that was announced. 33.59 is highest of pre-market, high of the pre-market. Above that, 35.04, great level there on this very interesting hammer type day here. You can see it's just this thing just slamming down there after pushing up. What else we have up here towards the top, guys? We have a level over at 36.24, so we'll do 36.24 there, and I think we're pretty good on space, guys. Towards the bottom, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, doing a pretty good job of getting some good levels on there. So pre-market action, again, it could be better. I do like their volume though. They're sitting at 1.1. After this nice gap up, they've just kind of been moving sideways a little bit here. Let's see if they could break one way or the other. That's what we're looking to see on space with some good volume. I would prefer this one to break upwards, not towards the bottom. Towards the bottom, you're going to be running into this consolidation. We don't want that. That could create some chop. We want this hopefully to break up towards the top and start hitting some of these levels up here, especially at 35.04 will be very nice. AMC this morning, I mean, what can we not say about AMC? I'm going to keep this level here, 44.70. That was the pre-market high yesterday. We saw how that played out for the breakout. Low of the pre-market, we're going to add that on here at 53.01. Actually 52.81 to be exact, and then the high of the pre-market over at 77.30, so we'll throw a level there on as well. So I mean, I don't know, all-time highs, guys. I mean, this thing, there's no other levels you can really add on here. This is all you really have, and this thing is just madness right now. 40 million shares traded. It is down of 2.8, was down a little bit more here, was down as much as 6% in this area when we were talking about it earlier. So it's trying to make its way back into the green. Let's see if we can do that, and this will be a lot of fun to watch today. Very careful with this one, guys. All right, some of the pullbacks we saw yesterday now are getting very aggressive. You know, some of these pullbacks could be $3 and you could still be on an uptrend. We saw that yesterday, right? Look at these pullbacks here. It's just incredible pullbacks, $1 or $2 easily, but still in a very nice uptrend, just continuing to push up higher there. Here's NEO, guys. I do like NEO today. I know it might be in the shadows a little bit with everything else that's looking just incredible. But NEO is down 1.8 right now, 1.1 million shares traded. So they got tons and tons of volume at this moment. 38.78, great level towards the bottom, great area of support on here. You got also a little bit of resistance happening there as well. Their pre-market low right now, a little bit lower than the low from 2 days ago over at 39.71. So I'm going to mark that down there also. And I think that's all you really need for NEO. So let's see. Last time we hit this 43, 42 area, as you can see here, we went down a nice little run towards the bottom. We are starting to do that now. I'm not saying that is what's going to happen, but it will be interesting. Pre-market action, very active, down 2.1. I'm down 2%. Let's see what NEO does today. Here's BB, guys. Again, slightly a little more difficult to trade. Now, BB at the moment, high of the pre-market sitting at 21.54. We'll throw a level there. And then we got some levels from yesterday that played out pretty good. 17.87. That was from, I believe, maybe the pre-market action, probably the high of the pre-market. We would keep that on there. And then towards the bottom, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. You also have a couple of levels here: 1545, 1504, and 1250, which is now basically the low of yesterday. So some good levels there. Pre-market action, guys, looking better than it did the last 2 days, right? The last 2 days is pre-market action is looking a whole lot better, way more volume. We did 346 million yesterday. So today we're starting to look very good. Hopefully going to break that as well. All right, that is what we have, guys. We have an amazing list this morning. Let's take a look at our moderators list today. Let's bring this over. Let's resize this a little bit here, and we'll bring our moderators list over so we can see our visuals and see what our moderators are looking at, especially on a day like today where we might all have the same list or somebody's going completely different. Let's take a look. All right, here's Thor. He's looking at Neo. Now, Thor, I know Thor doesn't like to trade a lot of meme stocks. He did mention that yesterday. So you can see he only has AMC here. He doesn't have a whole bunch of other stuff. He's keeping an eye on NEO, which I agree. NEO looks very good. TRY looks excellent. CGC, XPEV, CCL, NCLH, and secondary list AMC and AMD. So he's watching those there on his secondary list. Mike is looking at mRNA, BA, and NVIDIA. John is looking at BYD, mRNA, GameStop. Tiffany, TRY, BB, secondary list, Workhorse, and Tesla. IPO for today, DLO, so look out for that one. Dima is looking at BB, Space, Neo, and Apple. Peter is looking at AMC, BB, Workhorse, secondary list, AMD, TRY, and also AI. Jared is looking at AMC and BB and the MJ sector as well. So a lot going on there. Obviously, TRY looking really good this morning. So that is the moderators list, guys. I think we have a very interesting trading day coming up. It's gonna be exciting to see what AMD, BB is going to be doing today. AMC, excuse me, not AMD. Space is looking good. TRY is also looking very interesting there. Workhorse, everything's looking very, very good. But I do like Neo. Let's take a look. There's another one I saw here. Tesla. A lot of you guys have Tesla on deck. Let's see what Tesla is doing. Yeah, Tesla also looks good, guys. Getting great volume right now, 647. So keep an eye on that one. That one is down 1.3 at the moment. So, all right, that is what we have, guys. Pretty easy list today. Let's see here. I'm just going through our gappers list. PLTR, just curious what PLTR is doing on a day like today. PLTR might trade the best today, just because we all are not watching PLTR. Today might put in an amazing day because it tends to do that. And then when we put it on our list, it'll be choppy as nobody's business. But yeah, that's PLTR there for you. Guys, I think we are good. Any questions that we can answer? Anything that has a catalyst that's looking great? Outside of that, I think we're done with our list today. Brian's coming in with his list: AMC, BB, PLTR, TLRY, and JZXN. You see, Brian knows exactly what I'm talking about. He has PLTR on there. He knows why it's going to trade amazing today. And I'm just going to put it on here to see if I'm right on that. PLTR. We'll put down there 1.2 million shares traded. It is down 2.1. I mean, sorry, 2.4. So that is great today. All right. By Neo. Therefore, Neo. Yeah, Neo is. Yeah, I think Neo could be on your main list actually, and it should be on my main list too. I got way too many meme stocks here right now. Right, maybe we can move down. Actually, I do have Neo on my main list. Okay, no. All right, no, I have it on my main list. Good. I thought I did it because it should be on the main list. There we go. You were saying it's on the secondary list. So I got rid of that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, perfect. Guys, over on YouTube, make sure you hit that thumbs up. We really, really appreciate it. It helps Norm and I quite a bit. So thank you for that. And also subscribe if it's your first time here. We do this every day, Monday through Friday when the market is open. Eamon's list, he's looking at Twitter. Are you adding to your list, Eamon? Or no, it's your first time? Oh, no. Eamon's list very short today. Twitter, BE, and Oxy. Now, Eamon trades very different. As you can see that he has Twitter today on his list. He has BE and also Oxy. What's Oxy up to today? Oxy is very active, actually, pre-market right now. Volume could be a little bit better, but Oxy has a couple of really good days here. Has broken out pretty nice. All right, guys. So yeah, so that is what we have. Thank you so much. Just to recap our list, we have Workhorse on here, guys, looking very good this morning. TRY, 4.4 million shares traded, also up 9% after a big day yesterday. So that is very nice. Space, guys, looking also very decent. The daily is great. They have a contract out a possible breakout here. Hopefully, let's see if that catalyst can get this going. They've been doing very well over the last couple of weeks, guys. They're getting down to $14. $14 here, maybe 15. I don't have the exact number. And look at the comeback they have had over the last couple of weeks into end of May and into June here, looking really, really good. So let's see if that can continue. AMC, 42 million shares traded. Obviously, this thing is just on fire. Trying to get above green here, struggling a little bit with the news that with the statement that came out about the shareholders and what they think about this actual stock. Well, not the shareholders, but the company itself, about their investors. So again, that's obviously causing a little bit of spill there. But let's see if that's even going to matter, right, guys? It was not a positive comment. Let's see if that's even going to matter today on AMC as it tries to get green there. Here's NEO, guys. NEO is a good one. Don't let this be one that you don't have on your list. Keep it on there because again, I expect some of these meme stocks to be very, very insane at the market open. They can be very choppy, so be prepared. What you do not want to do in these type of stocks, guys, you do not want to overstay your welcome on both sides of the field. Whether you're green or red, you do not want to overstay your welcome. They can drop very aggressively. You need to have amazing risk management, right? Yes, you can make a lot if you're on the right side of things, but you can also lose a lot if you don't have great risk management and you're swinging for the fences, right? You don't want to be the guy swinging for the fences and striking out on one of these stocks. You want to be like the Derek Jeter that just gets the hits, gets on base, and is dealing with consistency. Very, very important. All right, guys, take care. Trade safe. We will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you hit those thumbs up. Highly appreciate it over on YouTube. We're going to continue here with our members, and our Brian and Andrew are coming up next, taking us live through the market open. We'll see you guys tomorrow, Friday. Wow, this week flew. Friday to end the week. Take care, guys. Have a good one.